All right, Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praises, honor, glory, as well as worship to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the leaders of Israel. And I'm going to say salutations to the sincere Akim that's out there teaching this truth and sincerity. And say Shalom to the sincere sisters that's listening in truth and subjection. I'm going to do a quick topic, Lord willing, on the Trail of Tears. All right, because, I believe through the Spirit that I'm from the tribe of Gad. And I just found out recently, so I'm going to start doing more videos out of Wan Ratazah, all right, about the tribe of Gad, okay? And this is the Trail of Tears, this is Wikipedia. It says, the Trail of Tears was a series of forced relocations of Native Americans in the United States, all right? Because the Native Americans, they was residing here, all right? It says in history about 15,000 years that, if I'm not mistaken, that the Native Americans been here, all right? So the Native Americans, they've been here, but they was forced out, all right, by the Trail of Tears. All right, this is one of the ways they was forced out. They got the Trail of Tears, and they got the I think this involved, the Indian Removal Act. So I'm just read it. And Lord willing, this video is edifying. It says, Trail of Tears was a series of forced relocations of Native Americans in the United States from their ancestral homelands in the southeastern United States to areas to the west, usually west of the Mississippi River, that had been designated as Indian Territory. All right. That's why they got a lot of Indian reservations now, because that's where the Indians are residing at now. They was once living in a good land, mostly by themselves, but it was all set up by the Most High, Yahweh. All right, it was just their time. All right. It says the forced relocations was carried out by government authorities following the passage of the Indian Removal Act in 1830. All right, that was by Andrew Jackson. All right, he put upon this Indian Removal Act because he one of those so-called Indians. All right, he wanted them out of their land, because they had a lot of land, and the so-called white man, the Edomites, they land hungry, all right, they're thieves, all right. It says the relocated people suffer from exposure, disease, and starvation while en route to their new designated reserve, right? Trail of Tears, man. All right, and when the so-called white man, when he came over here, all right, Christopher Columbus, he gave the people smallpox. All right, they carried a whole bunch of diseases. All right, but the Edomites, they was immune to it already. All right, but the so-called Native Americans, all right, the Northern Kingdom, all right, they wasn't used to it. So once they I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it this video, but Lord willing, I can get it the next video to back it up. But it says that even by hand contact, the Native Americans, they was being infected by these diseases, and the Edomites, they couldn't figure out why, but they knew what they was doing. All right. It says the relocated people suffer from exposure, disease, and starvation while en route to their new designated reserve, and many died before reaching their destinations. The forced removals included members of the Cherokee, Muskogee, Seminole, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and select if I'm saying it wrong, and Ponca nations, as well as their African slaves. All right, it says the phrase Trail of Tears originates from a description of the removal of many Native American tribes, including the infamous Cherokee Nation relocation in 1838. All right, and this is they got a memorial monument in Georgia for the Trail of Tears. All right, it says which honors the 4,000 Cherokees who died on the Trail of Tears. All right, so Andrew Jackson, he forced the people to get out by the Indian Removal Act, and they had to go thousands of miles, all right, to a new location with no food, catching diseases. All right, I'm gonna read this. It says between 1830 and 1850, the Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, Seminole, and Cherokee people, including mixed race and black slaves who lived among them, were forcibly removed from their traditional lands in the southeastern United States. You know, they're most likely Jakes, all right? Because there's no such thing as mixed race. It goes by the seed of the father, okay? It says, and relocated further west, right? It says those Native Americans who were relocated were forced to march to their destinations by state and local militants. All right, so they was forced out of their land. All right, by really the military. All right, it says the Cherokee removal in 1838, the last forced removal east of the Mississippi, was brought on by the discovery of gold. All right, near Georgia in 1828. So the Edomites, you know, that they knew that there was a plenty of gold there. All right, so they had to force these Native Americans out so they can steal their land, you know, and take all their goods. Okay. Let me see if I can get some more on this Indian Removal Act. Yeah, kind. It says the Indian Removal Act was signed into law on May 28, 1830 by President Andrew Jackson. The law authorized the president to negotiate with southern Native American tribes for their removal to federal territory west of the Mississippi River in exchange for white settlement of their ancestral lands. All right. It says the act has been referred to as a unitary act of systematic genocide because it completely discriminated against an ethnic group to the point of certain death of vast numbers of its population. Man, this was an act of genocide, man. All right. It says because it completely discriminated against an ethnic group to the point of certain death of vast numbers of its population. The act was signed by Jackson, and it was strongly enforced under his administration of that of Martin Van Buren, was extended until 1841. I'm going to just read this, and then I'm going to get into some scriptures. It says, the act was strongly supported by southern and northeast populations with much resistance. However, from native tribes and the Whig Party, the Cherokee worked together to stop this relocation, but were unsuccessful. All right, so the Gadites, all right, us Gadites, all right, we was not down with this. All right, but ultimately, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you know, it had to go down because, you know, this was prophecy. All right, it says the Cherokee worked together to stop this relocation, but were unsuccessful. They were eventually forcibly removed to the United States government in a march to the west that later became known as the Trail of Tears. A lot of death, man. All right, you know, and hey, that's why these Edomites, they got to go down, man. All right, they have to go into slavery. They have to be destroyed. All right, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, he's going to come back and he's going to destroy these Edomites. All right, it's the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 19, it says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. All right, these so-called Edomites, Salaki, these so-called white people, the Edomites, all right, they overcame the Gadites. They overcame us, all right, but we shall overcome at the last, all right. We're going to get the last word, all right, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, okay. And let me get Psalms 55 and verse 21. Okay. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. All right. You know, President Andrew Jackson, all right, he smooth talk, you know, the Native Americans, you know, uh, coming over to our land, all right, trying to have a have a negotiation, and even Christopher Columbus, when he discovered the land, all right, in 1400s or early 1500s, if I'm not mistaken, all right, his words in his mouth were smoother than butter. You know, he was trying to cooperate with us, you know, trying to exchange. The Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans, the Gadites, they was welcoming, you know, but they had war in their hearts. All right, they drawn swords. You know, they gave us smallpox, all these diseases. Okay, they raped our women. All right, you know. Let me stay in Psalms real quick. Psalms 73. And 12. It says, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Yeah, man, they're ungodly. They increase in their riches by theft. All right. It says, yeah. Verse 19 says, how are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors. All right. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's going to come back and bring them down within a moment. All right. You know, he's not going to have any pity among these Edomites. All right. And I'll close out with one more scripture. The book of Nahum. Yeah. This is book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Hey, America is full of blood, all right, lies and robbery. They robbed the lands of the Native Americans, all right, the Gadites, all right, the Reubenites, all right, the Northern Kingdom. They robbed our land, all right. And it says, I'm gonna look for one more scripture. I'm gonna close out. Salaki. I'm gonna just close it out with this. Numbers 35 and verse 33. You know, because the only way that this can be settled is by the bloodshed of these Edomites. All right, and And people might say that, oh, this happened a long time ago, but a day to the Lord is 1,000 years. Okay? Let me see if I can get that real quick. Yeah. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. It says, Beloved, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Okay, so this didn't even happen 1,000 years ago. All right, so this is, maybe 20 minutes ago in the eyes of the Lord. All right, if you can receive it. All right, and this is the only way it's going to be made right in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shai. Numbers chapter 35 and verse 33, it says, So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. It says, defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I, Yahweh, dwell among the children of Israel. All right, you so-called black Hispanics and Native Americans. All right, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's dwelling among us. All right. I wanted to get one more. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Let's see. I think it's in Micah. It says, Khan, the water Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, I'm going to close out with this. All right, this is Micah chapter 2, and we'll start at 1. This is the book of Micah chapter 2, verse 1. It says, Woe to them that devise iniquity, to work evil upon their beds, and work evil upon their beds. All right, when the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. All right. Hey, these Edomites, they work iniquity. They wake up and think iniquity. All right. Just like they was plotting to take the land from the Native Americans, so-called Native Americans. All right. That's what they do still to this day. All right. They plot and look to see what land can they take. All right. It says, and they covet fields. All right. They take other people's belongings. That's covet. All right. They covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Whew. Man, they oppress our heritage today. All right. They they beat our backs. All right. They beat the heritage out of us. All right. That's why we don't have the yoke of iron around our necks no more. All right, because they oppress the heritage out of us. Okay. I'm gonna close out with that. All right, Lord willing, this video is edifying, and Lord willing, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ratazah, all right, that I can come back with more videos, all right, getting into more history of the Gadites, all right, the Gadites, the Reubenites, all right, the Northern Kingdom, okay, and how they went down into slavery. All right, but Lord willing, this video is edifying. I'm gonna close out. Give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Rakach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the leaders of Israel, and shalom to the sincere Akim that's out there teaching the truth and sincerity, and shalom to the sincere sisters that's listening in subjection. Shalom to the next lesson.